increasingly frequent departures from constitutional principles are destroying the rule of law foundation on which this country was built. We are succumbing to the caprice of men that our founders fought to escape. The cure to these problems will not come from Washington, D.C. They must come from the states. To begin that process, I am adding another item to the agenda for the next legislative session. I want legislation authorizing Texas to join other states in calling for a convention of states to fix the cracks in our broken Constitution.
Article 5 of the United States Constitution gives we the people the power to put the federal government back in its constitutional box and expand liberty for all. Once 2/3 of the states pass similar applications, a convention of states will be called, and there is nothing the federal government can do to stop it. This isn't a red movement or a blue movement. It's an American movement based on one fundamental question: who decides? Who should decide the issues that affect your community? Washington, D.C., or you? The Convention of States Action Resolution applies for an Article 5 convention that would propose constitutional reforms limited to 3 topics. First, fiscal restraints on the federal government. With over $140 trillion in unfunded liabilities, we need a balanced budget. But our resolution also allows for caps on federal spending and taxation. The second topic is limiting the power and jurisdiction of the federal government. The Supreme Court has authorized the feds to have control over almost every aspect of our lives. The COS Action Resolution empowers us to restore the Constitution to its original intent and return power to the states and the people. Finally, term limits. Thanks to a corrupt ruling class in Washington, trust in the federal government is at an all-time low. That's why our resolution gives Convention of States commissioners the power to send the career politicians packing, including the judiciary and other federal officials. So what can you do? First of all, sign the petition at cosaction.com and get as many of your friends and family to do the same. With your full address, your state legislators will know that you really are their constituents in their district. Call, email, or request a meeting with your state legislators to ask them to co-sponsor the COS resolution in their state. Get plugged in with your local Convention of States team so you can stay engaged, educate others, and respond to national calls to action. Our success depends on you, so we're inviting you to be part of history. Let's invoke the constitutional solution that's as big as the problem.
Are actual structural changes to the United States Constitution in the works behind closed doors? State legislators from around the nation on Saturday, December 7th, started holding planning sessions inside George Washington's Mount Vernon estate in Virginia to pave the way for what they call a Convention of States. This project was launched by Citizens for Self-Governance, or the CSG. It organized this Mount Vernon session to lay the ground rules for what later could become an actual constitutional convention, or a CONCON for short. The nation's first CONCON created the Constitution itself. And with this CONCON preparation session happening in Virginia, critics such as Aaron Bollinger of the National Veterans Committee on Constitutional Affairs are sounding the alarm before a CONCON happens. Bollinger, a longtime state and federal activist, fears that the Mount Vernon organizers' appealing quest to make Washington relinquish power to the states and shrink the central government could put virtually the entire U.S. Constitution on the chopping block.
Tell us about Convention of States. What is Article 5 of the Constitution all about, and why is it so important that our viewers know about this?
Well, you know, from all that activism, from the big switch in 2010 especially, and realizing that nothing changed, I realized we were attacking the wrong problem. The problem we were attacking was a personnel issue, wrong people in Congress. If you could just put the right people in, the right stuff would happen. Time has shown us that's not the case, right? We know that things haven't changed. We just had this $1.3 trillion supplemental budget, whatever they want to call it. It's just not fiscally responsible. So there had to be another problem. And if you dig in, what you find historically is we've created a structural problem. It's not a personnel issue. We've actually broken the structure of our government. So if you put good people like Tom Coburn in Congress, like Jim DeMint and others, now Jim Jordan, Mark Meadows, there's some good people in Congress. They're working in a broken system. They cannot fix what ails the country. The founders gave us a remedy for this. They knew it was coming. In Article 5 of the Constitution, they inserted the second clause, which gives you and me, acting through our state legislatures, the power to call a convention of states for the very purpose of proposing amendments to restrain government tyranny. And sometimes when I say that, people say, how do you know what the purpose was? And we can look back at Madison's notes. What happens is 2 days before the end of convention, September 15th, 1787, you have Colonel George Mason from Virginia stands, addresses the assembly, says something like this: we have a problem with the document we've created. We've given the power to Congress to propose amendments, but not the people. And he asks a question: are we so naive that we believe that a government that becomes a tyranny will ever propose the right kind of amendments to restrain their own tyranny? Madison's notes, really interesting there. They debated everything, right? Not that. His notes say nin com in Latin, means no comment, no debate, and unanimously they vote to put this second clause of Article 5 that gives us the power. And important we remember specifically what they intended is the power to restrain a federal government run amok. So that's the purpose of our efforts around Article 5, is to call a convention, get the states together, have them propose amendments specifically that will serve to restrain federal tyranny.